Hey guys, it is 123 Toyd back again, and today we're going to be talking about port noise and how it relates to high passes. So today is actually a pretty neat video. We're going to be using WinISD, which is a free program. There's a download link down below if you have never used this program. I'm going to use a Peerless woofer to show you this. Now, what we're going to do is make the assumption that you want to create a speaker that is going to be used in surround sound. Now, typically when you use a speaker in surround sound, your receiver is going to actually create a high pass. So we're going to actually create this and call it high pass. Now what that means is that it crosses over your speakers, like your rear speakers or your front speakers, at like 80 hertz or 50 hertz, and that's creating a high pass that will actually affect your frequency and your port noise. So let's go ahead and take a look. This particular speaker that I went in is a 4-inch Peerless. Will probably be used more in rear surrounds, although it could be definitely used in fronts and as far as a center as well. And what we're going to do is first put in the system input power, which is 30 watts. And we're just going to keep we'll do a 4.3-inch vent, and we'll do it by 0.5. All right, so change this to about 0.2-ish, somewhere around there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on with this as far as rear port air velocity. Now this is in meters per second, and typically you want to be right around 17 meters per second. So you're looking at this and you're noticing that you're at 28 meters per second. Now, if you're that high, there is a chance that you will actually get what we call port noise. Now, port noise is what you might also refer to as chuffing, but it's air that's moving so fast out of the port that you actually hear it audibly. Now, we want to minimize that as best as we can. Now, one way to minimize that is creating a bigger vent, right? So we can create a 7-inch vent, and now all of a sudden we're right there at 17 meters per second, and we are good. Well, that's not the only way. And for those of you who have been struggling to get port noise under control, there's actually something that you might be missing, and that's the high pass. You see, right now, when we click on filters, we notice that there are no filters. However, your receiver is going to add a filter to it. So let's go ahead and click on high pass. We'll go ahead and do a Butterworth. It'll be a second order, and we're going to assume for a second that you're going to cross over your speaker at 80 hertz. So maybe this is a rear surround, or maybe it's a front surround. You have a pretty good subwoofer, so you don't need the bass out of your front speakers. So let's go ahead and hit add. And now look what it did to your port noise. You're completely under 17. You have nowhere. In fact, you're not even really close. You're at 15. And so you don't have to worry about this at all anymore. However, something else changed as well. Let's go ahead and take a look back at the graph, the transfer function magnitude, and look at the difference between the graph. So before high pass, after the high pass, that's a big difference, right? So how do we rectify that? Now, this is something that most people don't take into effect. If you're building a speaker and you know you're going to be crossing it over at 80 hertz, you need to worry about this or fix this. So what we're going to do is, instead of tuning this at 68, let's go ahead and try tuning it at 78. All right, now look at how much better the response is now. So much better. Now that actually changes, of course, our port size, our vent length. For example, we're doing a slot vent in this case, and it's much smaller now, 3.5, because we're venting lower. And now if we take a look at the rear port air velocity, you're right around 17 meters a second. You only cross 17 meters a second around 85 hertz to 70 hertz. So you're going to be probably fine with that. You're not going to have to really worry about that. That's really, really good. So what if we knew that we wanted to cross it over lower? So we bring this back down to, we were tuning around, 68, not 38. And now we want to take a look at our high pass. And our high pass, let's assume that we wanted to cross over closer to 50 hertz. We cross over at 50 hertz, and look, it's actually better already. So we know, for example, we're building a speaker. We're going to be crossing this over at 50 hertz. We can still tune this a little bit higher, say 70. And if we tune it at like 70, now our vent is about 4.68, so 4 3/4, maybe a little smaller than 4 3/4, and you got a really nice graph. Now, once again, we can go back to our rear port air velocity, and we can see the rear port air velocity is high. However, that's maximum wattage in there, which you're rarely going to get. So you're probably going to be getting closer to 20, and that's definitely doable. So just keep that in mind. Whenever you think about this, this is showing if you put in maximum wattage, for example, this speaker can do maximum RMS of 30 watts. That's saying in the worst possible case, you're going to get 24.5 meters per second of rear air velocity. So that might be a fact that you might want to do something like increase the box size or change the tuning frequency or whatever. And of course, that's going to affect your rear port air velocity. So guys, really the biggest thing to pay attention to when you're building, especially speakers that are going to be used in surround sounds and you want them to be crossed over at a certain frequency, like by 80 hertz, you're going to really want to pay attention and put that high pass in your filter section so that you know how it's going to affect your frequency response, because in this case it actually affected it quite drastically, so much so that we needed to change the tuning frequency to get the flat linear response that we wanted. So guys, I hope that you learned something in this video. I hope that you enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below. I always have contact information in the description. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. And please like the video. As always, it really helps out the channel. All right, thanks guys. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon.